Joan Mir, the 23-year-old Mallorca, Barry Sheen, Marco Lucanelli, Franco Uncini, Kevin Schwantz and Kenny Roberts Jr. Quartararo has to be on the podium today, and then he has to be 12 points clear of Joan Mir. That's the only way. Franco Morbidelli is 45 points down overall. He's got to win. It's as simple as that, and he has got some great rhythm. And if he gets out front early on, he could just blast away. Pole position to the podium here 7 days ago. Can he end his KTM career from the top row? Fabio Quartararo and Joan Mir starting alongside each other. Alex Rins, the mass for him. Podium today. He is at 2020 Moto GP World Champ. Have one corner left to make their way round to the grid. Here are your championship runners then. Maverick Vinales, you can forget Dovi, they just don't have the pace ready for this one. Should be world champion. How are his nerves heading into this one? And the same goes for Deva. Joan Mir was a 3-year-old the last time Suzuki won the Moto GP World Championship. Miller on the Ducati, and surely he will lead. Good start also from Polis Spargaro on the second row. Miller leads. Well, it was an excellent start by Alex Rins on the Suzuki. He's already got quite clear of Joan Mir.
Who's that?
An early disaster for him. He was out on the first lap last weekend with a crash at turn 8, and he's dropped to dead last on the approach to turn 2 already. Completely. That's game over surely for Fabio Quartararo in way too hot. All safely done so far. There is Joan Mir then, just behind Maverick Vinales. Try and just concentrate on what's ahead of him, work it out corner by corner, and then the championship will take to make up one more space, but he's got all sorts of work to do now. Quartararo was in so hot at turn number 2. He did that's on course to be world champion. The 26-point lead he needs to take to Portimao next weekend. That's Miller and Polis Spargaro. Just behind him, Nakagami. Oliveira made a good start. He's gone up 5 places. Mir, no real problem. 10th place would be fine as it stands. Just what he would have wanted, Steve. Draw himself into the race. He'll be a little bit more relaxed now.
Cool, he was a bit wide into turn 4 though, as we were. He's up into 18th place. Brad Binder has gone through. He's up to 8th ahead of Aleix Spargaro.
Can you believe it? The man who...
Oh, I hope you're okay there, Matt. As he... Looking back at the Yamahas, Maverick Vinales, there is Brad Binder. He's just closing up on the tail of Alex Rins. So Alex Rins has made a good start. He's made up...
Not quite sure what happened there. I was as nervous as Joan Mir on that last lap.
This is what happens when we straight on. We complete another lap here in Valencia. It's as you were at the front. There is Rins. He won 7. That's faster than any lap we had last week.
Yeah, right now Mir still comfortable in that Spargaro ahead of him. Brad Binder there in 8th place. He's just put in another decent lap of a high 1:31.
There is Zarco, Rins and Binder. Just behind them, Aleix Spargaro.
Is that he's got nobody breathing down his neck. There's quite a decent gap back to Pecco Bagnaia in terms of the threat coming from behind.
Up towards turn 11. He just went too deep into turn 1. And so Franco Morbidelli is in exactly the position he wanted to make such a strong start to the season.
At the moment, Live Championship, he's dropping to 4th in the standings before they
have the top 3 overall. Mir's just been given the information he needs. Great lap from Morbidelli. A 31 point. Is this Morbidelli grabbing his ticket to say bye-bye?
That's Pecco Bagnaia. He's just fiddling with his fingers, grabs the mask. He really doesn't know which screen to look at.
Rins, he's not yet been able to find a way through on Johann Zarco. Morbidelli has shown well a few weeks ago that when he's out front and he's in the mood and he's in the rhythm, he can be
the man to beat once he gets his nose in front. Jack Miller at the moment just under 0.4 of a second behind Taka Nakagami. It's Oliveira, Zarco, Rins, Binder, Aleix Spargaro, Mir still a threat for the title. He'll know that Morbidelli's points at the moment are not going to threaten him as well. Quartararo got the inside of his off-track excursion on the first lap.
It's another 31.4 now from Franco Morbidelli out front.
Like in front of them, disrupting their high corner speed, fast lines. That's what they can do. The problem last weekend, I think 9 of Yamaha's 10 podiums this year have come from front row start.
From Joan Mir, you'll see Fabio Quartararo bolting right in a moment. Oh yeah, he's trying to
Maverick Vinales, didn't he?
Here is your race leader then, whose long dark locks, Florence, Italy and Brazil. just behind him, Jack Miller. What we do know is if Miller can somehow get where Yamaha won't win.
Yeah, that big mistake from Pecco Bagnaia on the last lap of turn 1, that allowed Dovizioso Vignale
Able to hold on to it now on the home straight, because that's a key move with Johan Zarco. Look how much speed that did.
the straight, and he's now got Brad Binder swarming all over his rear tyre.
Zarco's gone down. He's asked
in there, of course, for Joan Mir. Simon, some thoughts on turn 1. Is that a wind-affected crash, do you think, maybe?
It's because there's a tailwind down the front straight, and the usual brake marker is over the limit.
Another place to Joan Mir. To further back, Fabio Quartararo as well.
Frankie Carcetti still able to stand in the garage and watch the action. Steve, I think he spoke to me a couple of times last.
Watch it, it's too nervous. He'll be nervous watching this right now.
Still got 21 laps and a bit to go in this.
Patient, what can Alex Rins do? Can he find a way through and past Taka Nakagami? We're on board though with
me having such a mature, wise old head on young shoulders. He's not in a position now that he's got to take big. I feel like he's going to start taking unnecessary risks just to pick up a couple of places. Nakagami runs wide again, another run.
It was another 31.4 from Franco Morbidelli out front, whose lead now is 7/10.
Morbidelli, brilliant mid-pace in the 131s. Jack Miller, to be fair to him, is not that much slower. In fact, it's extending big time in this current lap number 7. Morbidelli already in the first 2.
Chase Franco Morbidelli, because he just doesn't seem to really put a foot wrong anywhere either.
He went top most successful rider in terms of wins this year, wasn't it, with Fabio Quartararo, so that'll be a bit of a scalp. Vignale's about the performance of the 2020 bike, but Yamaha right now are on course for their 7th win of the
So strange, isn't it? Across the line here we go then to complete lap 7. If you're thinking, how are Suzuki's in this position? Racers at the same circuit, and these guys have all found a bit of extra speed. They're as it stands though, Mir would win the championship.
How much of a hole did that mistake? He got dropped back down to 5th place, and he's at 1.5 seconds behind Polispot. Still, at some point in the last 5 or 6 laps, it will be high in the mouth for Suzuki as they edge close.
Miguel Oliveira, the Tech 3 rider, currently in 4th. Just up ahead of him. Rins knows he's got to be on the top 2 steps here.
Something happens to Fabio Quartararo as well, Steve. He did a through on him. He's dropped back to 18.
You've got to think it's all over, haven't you?
Nakagami's just been excursion in the first corner. It's Quartararo dealing with some kind of front tyre pressure problems. But can you believe how his championship really stuttered and stumbled? 7 of his last, nobody could have imagined that. The way he started the season in such spectacular fashion.
Because that gap's building between Polispargro and Miguel. Track limits warning now. Oh, he's down! He's down in that!
Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. No other words for it for Fabio Quartararo.
From top of the...
And well and truly out. Turn 6 then has ended Fabio Quartararo's challenge here in Valencia. M1 underneath him when he moves to the factory team next year. He was offline there a bit, wasn't he?
He was offline. 4 of the World Championship. He's 5th as a result of that right now.
He had an absolute horrendous again in the race here today.
As it stands, Joan Mir is Andrea Dovizioso.
Yeah, he's taking big chunks of time out of Mir right now, isn't he?
Mir was trying to get this bike fixed, but it doesn't really matter. It's all done.
Fabio Quartararo knew last weekend that the championship pace so out of kilter with the setup. They've tried more changes this weekend than they did in the whole of Quartararo's been in this weekend. That deep, he's nearly struck oil.
Alex Rins desperate still to pull there, 6/10 behind Miller in 3rd. This is the battle for 4th. Nakagami now trying to get on terms with Miguel Oliveira, the classic block pass, and Alex Rins, very close to the action as well.
Lovely, that enough as well to keep Miguel Oliveira behind him. Looks like he's got
Queen 4th in the championship as things stand. There's still no 2020 Yamaha inside the top 10. He's in 11th, grappling with Cal Crutchlow at the moment.
Jack Miller doing his utmost to hang in there. Full credit to him. He's still Oliveira, so been a costly lap or 2 for Miguel Oliveira. He's yielded a couple of places. First up at turn 6.
Yeah, starting to warm up a bit now, isn't he, Alex Rins? The problem he's got is to make up now. 17 laps to do it. Next on the list here, looks like board now with Mir in 9th. Alesia's doing a good job holding on to a spot in the top 10, but is there a move coming here? 86 on Alessia Spargaro.
Perfect time to ride on board then with the potential future world. Now, between Joan Mir and 2020 Moto GP glory, it's a 2020 that's has to get up the inside of Alessia Spargaro on the factory Aprilia. Alessia Spargaro was raging a one-man camp. He's going to be left to contemplate what might have been the way his form has tapered off in the second half.
So 16 laps to go here. It's Mir's championship, as enough to wrap it all up. Dovi ready to pounce on Alessia Spargaro. This is the best scat now out front. Morbidelli has got up to 1.1 second lead, and that might just be into an issue.
Fabio Quartararo not where he wanted to be, defeated in the World Championships Valencian Grand Prix, having crashed out at turn 6. He had a disastrous start, a mistake running in the road. Joan Mir is doing everything that he could have. He didn't try and make any risk getting through on Alessia Spargaro. He was quite patient, happy to bide his time.
It might get better for Mir as yet. Last lap.
And Morbidelli's got his lead out to over a second for the first time then now.
Just wide there from Rin. Morbidelli's just ticking off the mid 131s and he's staying there. There's just no answer. Sort of hovering behind Jack Miller. That's Miguel Oliveira and Brad Binder.
There's a lot of blue on that virtual fan wall, held up brilliantly by this man Franco Morbidelli.
No surprise to see that midway through this race at that 31.7, 31.4, and all of them in between. Italian, such a cool customer as well in this situation.
He never looks like he's getting flustered when he's neat. I wonder whether Taka Nakagami might be left to rue that runoff as his pace, as Steve just mentioned, red hot, 3/10 quicker than Spargaro on the last lap.
Happened a lot, hasn't it, this year for Nakagami? It's always been a little too late in his attempts to
take away from Alessia Spargaro and Dovizioso once he got through on the Aprilia man. Shortly.
They round turn 14, and we're at the halfway stage of this race. Still in 8th place, ahead of Alessia Spargaro on the Aprilia. 10th is Dovi.
That personal best lap of his race, a 31.4 that time around, 4/10 quicker than Spargaro.
Antino Rossi, his pace has just been up slightly, so he's been catching Cal on the last couple of laps.
In pace. These two, of course, huge experience. Cal Crutch weekend, of course, he'll be trying to help Valentino Rossi out next season as the official Yamaha test rider. One of the great Barry Sheen and Cal Crutchlow among those absolute legends from the UK.
Let's look at the time he's taken out with Spargaro. Taka Nakagami then trying to find his way. 31.4 again from Nakagami, so he's the fastest man in the field.
One breathing space for Mir then, just ahead of Alessia Spargaro and Dovizioso. Still Alex Marquez, who's going to be feeling very second-hand, a bruising, vicious high side yesterday, and he's wide. And he'll be hoping that adrenaline can get him through to the checkered flag here, the younger Marquez.
Dropped to Alex Rins, who's just behind. Nicho Cecchinello watching on.
He's got plenty of time, over 11 laps, to hunt down Spargaro for second with Jack Miller.
Here is the gap to your own eyes, Spargaro, and then it's the Honda of Takaki Nakagami. We actually have Honda Suzuki. Just behind then is Oliveira and Binder, then 2 seconds back to Juan to wrap this one up. It's 8/10 now.
Yeah.
A round of applause there from Fonzi Nieto.
Which he's not too often prone to making, is he? But Miller then, still sensing that there's a... It's up to about 1.5 just a few laps to go.
Yeah, he doesn't buckle very often, does he, Franco Morbidelli? He's about... Yamahas have in the past been known to fade a bit towards the end of races, although Franco top step that Assen win in 2016, but who was in those wet conditions for Pramac Ducati before he moves to the factory team in 2021. The
Stepping in for the Ingetetti
fastest lap of the race.
Wow, Miller's got some serious speed here then, and it's down to 6:10.
Dovi makes a move on Aleix Espargaro. He goes up one spot into 7th, so Mir might yet make up another spot.
That 1:31.378 from tyre as well, which you've got to feel is going to wear that slightly faster than the hards that the likes.
He's really got to work for this because, as we've mentioned before, Morbidelli won't make this easy. Further back, he's
That run off at turn 1 has regrouped exceptionally well, and at the moment he's eyeing one prize.
gone through on Miguel Oliveira as well, so that's the reason why Mir's catching Oliveira. I didn't see that move, so bin time last week. Where do you look? We've got Miller 8/10 behind
Nakagami 4th. Nakagami desperate to make it a role reversal here 7 days later. On more than one occasion so far this year, he's really piling the pressure on Paul. Right now, Mir in a relative Oliveira, and in turn he's about 7/10 clear of Andrea Dovizioso behind him.
in a Moto GP race. He's not got any immediate company right now, which is good race, and I told him exactly what he needs to do.
He knows 8th place, a battle then now that's being engaged.
He's got so much grip, so much rear grip.
He's Kagami, can you believe it?
Another podium chance goes begging for With 8 laps to go, he had so much more rear grip than Pol Espargaro, but unfortunately, maybe the down and out, and he almost took Pol Espargaro with him.
Oh, hill. And the front end just cried no more. Gravity took over, and it's another golden chance. That they can't believe it. Down in Idemitsu LCR Honda. He was, what, 3rd for a
29-point lead. Is Morbidelli, though, going to stay in P1? The gap is 7/10 of a... There's 8 laps left. It's 7/10 of a second through sector 3 as well. Could he be... He'd be a very, very popular winner, that's for sure.
It really would. It really would. Pramac Bar, the gap is 6/10. It's game on here in Valencia, folks. Franco Morbidelli, good, but... he's having to fend off the hard-charging Jack Miller now. Pol Espargaro
coming up towards sector 2 shortly, and we'll see what the gap looks like. Jack.
Yeah, and this would be a first proper full dry race. They've had some famous Aussies do the business for Ducati down the years, particularly MotoGP. Casey.
He's so pushing that front end, is Jack Miller, trying to claw any half a tenth he can find here. How will Franco Morbidelli react? It's even more difficult to try and catch.
He's having to work pretty hard for this one today, isn't he? If he does win, well, he's had to put a shift in, that's for sure.
So let's see how he responds.
Absolutely nothing between the lap times of Morbidelli and Miller on that last read from Miller.
Everything A-OK with 6 laps to go for Joan Mir.
The men at the front of this Grand Prix.
A little bit further behind these guys, Alex Rins, so Binder trying to get his first top 5 for
Morbidelli here.
On board with Jack Mir, Franco Morbidelli to become the 10th different winner in 13 races, which would be a rank left through turn 13.
It's been very much the year of the independent team this year. With Ducati have never had an independent team rider win the MotoGP race. Jack Miller at the
trouble at all, because that's the first time I think I've seen Morbidelli in the 132s. It was a 31. This battle for the ultimate win here at the Valencian Grand Prix. Jack Miller through turn 4. It's 4 tennis colours Morbidelli and the Pramac Ducati rider Jack Miller.
He has looked absolutely awesome over this last 4 or 5 laps. Continues to pile the pressure on Franco's faces. Pensive faces down in Petronas Yamaha SRT. Ramon Facada and Stewie Miller looking
out. Is a heart rate monitor on Francesco Guidotti. Up the hill to power onto the start-finish straight. Here he has a 31.9, and it was a 32 flat for Miller. It's as you were.
Pol Espargaro cannot just break it down to under a second to his fellow Spaniard. Joan Mir then fall down on Miguel Oliveira pretty rapidly right now is Mir.
coping with the pressure wonderfully at this moment. Miller's just trying everything, making all sorts of shapes, any which way he can find.
Sleep well tonight because he's extracting every single ounce of performance out of that promo.
Absolutely, 100%. Both of these boys have been absolutely brilliant to watch out on circuit. It's gain in it through sector 3. No change behind these two. Creeps on the power of his Petronas Yamaha 2019 machine. Behind him is Jack Miller. There's now 3 laps to go. Whether Franco can cope with the pressure.
There is Juan Mir.
Archetti in the middle of the picture. He's nervous. He doesn't even want to look at the screens. There's 12 and Juan Mir at this moment in time.
23 years of work and sacrifice for 27 laps. Famous success for Suzuki. It seems such a long time ago. It feels longer than 20 years since Suzuki.
Some last minute pressure here from Brad Binder. It's championship over for Alex Rins in terms of fighting Mir. Defend the South African Brad Binder in the remaining few laps.
And a double top 7 for Suzuki doing their bid for.
Is there going to be any change out front? Here in Valencia, and Morbidelli is putting on an amazing defensive display, but it's line. Mir being told everything's fine. Yes. Don't worry, calm down. The championship will be yours.
Thumbs up, but he knows he's within touching distance of pure.
You just know it will leave nothing out on that track at all. There's 4 tenths in it, but it doesn't look like that.
Moto GP's coolest customer. He needs ice coursing through his veins right now because Miller, dry race victory for Ducati.
It's 0.2 of a second in it, and if Miller is this close onto the whole speed difference between these two motorcycles.
And Miller's been exceptional over the crest here through turn 12. Crucial onto this straight, and he's close. He's very close. Can he pick up some slipstream behind more?
Here comes Jack Miller. He's coming through like a rocket, and he leads. Can he get the bike stopped into
braking extra late though? Morbidelli pinches it back
on the cutback. That was lovely. Morbidelli then is saying he will. Up the inside he goes.
It's a last lap humdinger here in Valencia. Jack Miller then. How aggressive was that from Franco? Might get the world title, but
he thinks better of it.
Now then, Jack Miller. Is there going to be any way through? Can he be close enough to try and turn 10? Is he going to be close enough? Here he oh no! They almost touched. How close was that? Now then, will Miller be able to
Morbidelli into turn 11, and Jack's now got to somehow find any time at all. I don't think he's close enough for the race win. Who will take it out of the last corner? Here comes Miller in the slipstream. Further back, Polispargaro will take 3rd, and Juan Mir is the world champion.
Congratulations to Suzuki and Juan Mir. Ladies and gentlemen, there is your 20 long years for the factory Suzuki team. 23-year-old Juan Mir.
That was incredible, absolutely incredible. Let's get a quick word from
Wilting my nails. What was it like for you? What a ride!
Yeah, it was crazy race. You know, as last weekend, can we change the ball? I said we can win next race here in Valencia, and yeah, I'm so happy we did.
We'll talk about Franco Morbidelli and Jack.